Welcome to Tech Talk Tuesday here on MSP Unplugged. I'm your host, Paco LeBron. This is the podcast where we discuss different ways to run your IT business. Whether you're a one-person shop or have multiple employees, this is the place for you. Let me go ahead and introduce my co-host. We have none other than Rick Smith over at Renactus Technology. Rick, how are you today?
Doing good, Paco. Can't complain. How you doing?
You know, like my favorite saying I like to say, and this is stealing from John Dubinsky, better than I deserve. So Um, we're going to go through this episode. I think being that this is the start of Tech Talk Tuesday, I think it was only fitting to kind of reintroduce yourself to the podcast community. You've done a few interviews in the past, but I think it'd be nice to get a rehash of kind of your journey and kind of moving forward from what you're doing kind of nowadays, especially from the last 2 years, and how it's made things really interesting for a lot of IT service providers. But before we go into that, I want to talk about what's kind of my favorite thing to talk about, and that's Techcon Unplugged. Techcon Unplugged is officially back September 16th to the 18th in Chicago at the Hilton Rosemont Chicago O'Hare. You are going to have a lot of great information and content. You're going to learn from other like-minded business owners. You're going to get real takeaways to bring back to your business, introductions to vendors and resources that you may not have thought about or had been interested in, just didn't know when to bring it up to go ahead and speak to them, and also have the ability to tap elbows and enjoy one-to-one conversations, because that's really what this is all about. I think the biggest piece for this is where people really are missing that one-to-one interaction with each other, and that's what we're hoping to replicate as well. So tickets are $299 this year. However, we are running an early bird special of $199 until April 4th. So you can get your tickets now at techconunplugged.com. It is live, and we hope to see you there. All right. So Rick, we kind of our history a little bit. We actually met back in July of 2017. It was at the Unconvention DC. Then it was a really great time. It was a very interesting because it was kind of the second phase of the Unconvention. A lot of great atmosphere, really great outing that we had, that we were meeting on some of those things. And that's where I got to know you a little bit then. And then now 5 years later, we've been able to build not only a great professional relationship, but also a great friendship as well. So I really appreciate you, us talking a little bit more on the business and really getting the piece of just knowing, for the audience to know a little bit more about you, now that you're going to be obviously here on a more official basis after our announcement of last week. So if you haven't heard that episode, make sure you listen to it. We kind of discussed on what's going on over here at MSP Unplugged. So as we go ahead and move forward, Rick, why don't we go ahead and talk about your company name, Renactus Technology. Where did that came from, and what was the origin of that company name?
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about that today. Kind of giving a backstory. I started my company actually in 2003. So okay. We're going on 19 years now. And at that time, I had one child. Now, People know I have 3 daughters now. So I had one child. I named the company Tay-Ray Solutions. My daughter's name was Taylor Renee. So I named it basically after her. Okay. As time went on, I get a little pushback from my other 2 daughters as to why does Taylor get her own company? Why does she have her own company name? So I challenged the kids to come up with a name that we could use and make an official change. Now, it's kind of funny how this happened. They came up with Renactus. Now, I told them we're making a fresh start. And this is actually in the same time was a transition I was making from Break Fix to MSP. So I said, we're going to come up with something that's, a fresh start, new beginning. Now, somehow Renactus was, I think it was Latin for new beginnings. And somebody spelled it wrong or wrote it wrong, but we came up with Renactus. Everybody liked it, so we stayed with it. So everybody always asks me, hey, where'd that name come from? What does it mean? And actually, it means the wrong way to say new beginnings. Is really what it is. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's something that stuck. We liked it. it's funny. I talk to some people on the phone, and you can always tell when someone's hesitant to say your name or say a name because they don't want to get it wrong. So they say and I'll say Renactus, but it's catching on. It's not as hard as it's just a little different, but
sure.
But to give a history, that's where the name comes from.
Okay, nice. Didn't know that. I know part of that story, but I didn't know the full thing. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah. And you are based out of Newark, New Jersey, correct?
Well, I'm based out of Union, New Jersey. We're near Newark. Okay, right. We're near Newark. Maybe I don't know, 15 minutes maybe from Newark. So, but Newark is the largest city near us.
I was just going to say, so that would be technically like the major city. Okay, very cool. And so you just mentioned you're 19 years in business now, going to hitting on 20 next year in 2023. So that's pretty awesome. So obviously there's been a bunch of stuff that probably have happened over the last 20 years, but prior to those 20 years, can you walk us through on kind of what was your journey to get to being where you are now with your IT service business?
Well, I had coming out of college more than 20 years ago, had a lot of different jobs. I finally got into tech. I'm not going to say kind of by accident. And I was working at a company who someone recognized that I had an aptitude for it and got me into working at, corporate tech. So that's where I learned a lot. And that's why, I'll say this, we have this conversation. I'm still stuck on in-house servers because that's what I learned how to learn tech, learn what I learned first. So it's always been my thing. And then I got into learning cabling, which is one of my favorite things to do. So whenever we still offer that here, and whenever I get a job, I like to be hands-on with that whenever we do any kind of project work that requires cabling. But so to answer your question, I'd be long-winded about it. I started with corporate tech and I was doing that. I started the company and as a part-time gig, just really at that point, I was just building machines for people, building computers for people. That turned into more so the break fix portion. Finally left the corporate side and was break fix for really 13 years was break fix. And then I, actually met you guys right as I was making that transition. And that's how I really, been focusing on MSP ever since.
Very cool. Very cool. As everyone's seen that it looks like I'm in a cave now because my sensor of my light just keeps going off. So we're going to try and power through. So you kind of mentioned how you've kind of went through really trying to figure out your way. You've gone through the process. You were starting off with building these PCs. Nowadays, how do you advertise yourself to your clients on what you do? Do you say that you are a managed service provider, an IT service provider, you're a hybrid? How do you kind of advertise yourself to your clients? Not necessarily what you believe you are, but what do you tell your clients that you do?
Right. And it's definitely a different, what my title would be versus what I explain to my clients or the people is totally different. One of the fortunate things for me is I had some business clients when I was break fix that just basically always knew me as the computer guy, right? They call me when something's wrong, I come fix it. So they'll probably never, ever embrace, even though they're on contract now and are technically managed clients, they'll probably never embrace the fact that I'm their MSP. But what I tell everyone, if I meet anyone, or rather than give a roundabout story, I say we do in-house IT for small businesses. Basically, I'd say we do the gambit of, we'll build a network out. If they need it, we'll cable it, we'll install all of the equipment they need, and then we'll manage that software or manage that system to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So it's kind of what I'll say. I'll use the term in-house technology for small businesses. It's usually the best way I describe myself.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, what would you say is kind of your main customer type nowadays? Is it, I would imagine small businesses is probably a majority of your business. Do you
Mhm.
still support residential clients as well?
Well, here's the thing. I do not take on any new residential clients except for two things. I still have a decent sized book of residential clients, and if
Sure.
they call, I will service them. Out of I let me back up. When I started the business, when I started Renactus, when we changed the name and I was going MSP, the goal, the dream was, okay, I'm gonna no longer deal with uh, residential clients. I'm strictly business. But I
Sure.
had a huge, basically a huge book of clients that would call when there was an issue. Um, and I would, it's funny, I saw Jeff's picture. um, but so I would still service them, kind of out of loyalty. I sent a couple of clients to a couple other places. They had a bad experience, and a lot of that is maybe just the relationship we had built over the years. So I keep those residential clients that I have. I will continue to service. I try to tell them all the time, hey, you know, I don't have the time. I can't get to it. I'll book you if I can. I'll get to it in 2 days, 3 days, something like that if I can. If it's remote work, if I'm sitting here, I'll go ahead and do it and try to knock it out for them. But and the only other residential clients you'll see me take that are not quote unquote in the old book is if someone sends me a referral and it's someone close to them, I'll go ahead and try to do the work for them. Um, I guess that partially still keeps me in the break fix realm,
Sure.
but that part also keeps me sharp with other things that go on. So I do, appreciate it.
So, kind of going into that piece on business format. So, would you say a majority, like your book of business, is a majority of it break fix? Is a majority of it project work? Is a majority of it managed services? And how are you looking to kind of switch that tide in 2022?
I'm about, as we look at it now, I'm roughly about maybe about 60% managed now.
Okay.
Project work, I'm trying to go based on the numbers from last year. Project
Sure.
work accounted for another like 20 something percent, and then the rest would be still residential stuff.
Okay.
Um,
So it's a very good chunk of
yeah,
residential that
it's
keeps good on there. So
right. It's a mix. I'm trying to again make that transition to push it all the way up to manage, and the project work
sure.
will still stay in there. But again, like I say, I always say this: residential clients or break fix clients come up with some interesting scenarios of things that happen. So
Mhm.
that kind of keeps me sharp on what's going on. We as an MSP, since we're managing the things 90% of the time, we know what we're looking for. We can anticipate what's going on. In
Sure.
the break fix world, people will call me with some of the weirdest things. So, it just keeps you sharp.
No, that makes sense. No, and there's totally nothing wrong. Excuse me, on doing residential business. I think that for everybody, and that's the whole point of the show, is MSP Unplugged. We are not your typical MSP show. So although the name MSP is there, we realize that managed services can be applied to all types of different businesses. There are some that want to be a managed service provider from just providing antivirus and running that through their residential clients. We have those that are full-fledged MSPs. So nothing totally wrong with that. And we know that there are a few in our community that are making a lot of money just doing residential
Mhm.
alone on managed services and affluent areas, and really understanding how to get most for them. Like every age or every size of that business, definitely there's different ways to do it, whether it's break fix, MSP, contract, all you can eat, or project work. Definitely all those business formats work for you. It's all that about what works for you is something that I want to drive home. But yeah, no, sounds like it's great that you
And
have some goals for the year
yeah,
and really trying to figure out.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, one of the things I wanted to point out too is I've made a transition. Like, so all of those I still classify them as break fix clients, but a lot of them are contracted clients. They'll pay either a yearly fee or a monthly fee. And what we can offer is very similar to what we offer in the in the managed business field. Like we can offer backup, we can offer security. So we can offer those things as well on a contracted basis. Again, it's not going to be the same revenue stream or the same, but I do offer managed security and managed backup as a package to clients that they can pay yearly or they can pay monthly. That that helps them, and it brings in, again, it's another stream of revenue that comes in.
Gotcha. No, and you mentioned security, and you mentioned a couple of things on there. Why don't you share a few vendors that have really helped you kind of leverage some of that business offerings that you've done over the last year? Has there been any vendors that you've kind of either embraced newly that you're hoping that will help you bring you in a better peace of mind state or make your job a lot easier? / is there a vendor that you have used right now that you just can't see yourself not using them for the foreseeable future of your business?
Well, it's kind of twofold. What I've embraced now is I've been working with Solutions Granted.
Okay.
And that helps me in a couple of ways. There's an offer, there's an opportunity for, the MDR portion of that. Which gives me a SOC, which basically takes some of that, as MSPs, I'm sure everybody worries all the time about, when you go to bed, if you wake up tomorrow, if, quote unquote, the stuff has hit the fan somewhere. Sure. So having Solutions Granted as a SOC is, for me, a level of security for me, and, having someone behind me who's, when I'm sleeping, or I'm resting or not there, someone is monitoring and managing or, paying attention to what's going on in the security field and on systems.
And so for everyone to know, Solutions Granted is a managed security service provider or managed service security provider, however you want to put that, a master. And what they do, they're a reseller of many things, but as Rick mentioned, as a SOC, a security operations center, they have actually an in North America security operating center, I believe in the US as well.
US,
but Michael will have to correct me when we have him back on the show. But essentially, they are monitoring a lot of things for you. Can you tell us what they're monitoring for you as their SOC?
Well, everything security related. Like we use they have 3 products that we're using. Well, actually 4, but 3 products they're using. Silence, which is the antivirus. InfoSight, which is I'm going to screw this up.
Live threat hunting.
Right, it's more so the threat hunting. And then there is, I should have done my homework.
I put you on the spot, so
I forgot the third one. Is
anti-phishing?
Optics.
Oh, Optics, the EDR.
Optics, right? So they're basically, and then I do use and I use Avanan, which I purchase from them as well, which is anti-phishing, which I actually also love. So when putting together, I guess I'll put it this way, this may make the most sense. When putting together a package is, the experience I got from, the conversations you and I have had, the countless conversations you and I have had about security, about protecting ourselves, about protecting our clients. So I put together a package to basically, offer that, what I call my security portion of this. And that, a big portion of that is the offerings that I get from Solutions Granted. I also still use Huntress, which does similar to what InfoSight does, but they do it a little differently. So I still think that is, something that I need. I also use for DNS filtering. I use DNS filter basically. So, and then, there's the mail portion of this, because all of this is part of the security. Is is Avanan I use, and I'm forgetting Mail Protector. So that's basically the security stack, which leads into the second part of your question, which is something I've been using, not going to change, can't do without. And for me, that's been Untangled. Every client, every managed client, gets an Untangle box, and we install Untangle. It's something I stumbled upon, I want to say 7-8 years ago now, and been using. It's never failed me. It's been very good. So I've stayed with them. It's the firewall product that I know the best, that I don't worry about having to set, I can do it in my head. Basically, it's a 10-minute, 20-minute setup for me, and I'm ready to go. And so that's something that, and I've said this at the show once too, it's just, it's my favorite, my go-to, probably the vendor I've been with the longest and never considered changing from.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, Untangle has an interesting product that they provide where it's obviously their next gen or NG firewall product is one of the line items that they have, and they allow you to adopt that in several different ways. You can actually do it on your own, where they'll provide you the software. You purchase the licensing if you choose to. You can actually install it on a box of your own, and you're on to the races. And then you can utilize their firewall in that premise. Then there is they actually resell their own appliances as well. And depending on the amount or throughput, they'll be able to provide you that as well. We're also an Untangle shop as well. So we actually get purchase what are called Protect lease. Those are the mini boxes that we purchase. We load those with Untangle and kind of allow our clients to have that as our managed service. But what we actually do for us is that we actually charge a monthly fee for that firewall as a firewall as a service, versus it being them having to pay up front the cost and so forth, just to get the updated definitions and so forth. So definitely a great product. If you haven't checked it out, untangle.com. We should have them on the show here fairly soon as well. But great product as well.
Yeah, I really, for me, I'm always singing their praises. But and I used to, when I started to do things on the, as an MSP, you grow and you learn. I used to, and there was nothing, I still don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I used to just build boxes from old computers clients had. If we replaced the machine, I would use that machine, add another NIC card in it, and I would turn that into an Untangle box. And some of those lasted for a very long time. Of course, they started to show their age, because Untangle doesn't require too much, a large amount of resources. So you don't need a quote unquote a supercomputer to run it. So, for a long time, I was building boxes out of clients' old machines or something I had around. I could throw together an Untangle machine. But, I've been following the same route you have, and using Protect lease now, which, are reliable, which are, I've found that, it's actually a lot smaller footprint as well, which makes a big difference in some of your small businesses' rooms that, are quote unquote the server room that may or may not double for something else. So those are actually great. And I'm thinking about, we've talked about this, is going at the I guess that would be the hardware as a service route, but
sure,
with the boxes. But that's something I'm giving some thought to.
Gotcha. Yeah. So as far as now that we've gone to firewalls, and we'll go into networking a little bit more, what are some distributors that you're using nowadays? Because with a lot of the supply chain issues and things like that, like how have you been battling that? And what is your vendor of choice for networking? And how are you kind of, again, battling that to try and get the necessary equipment to help with your standardization?
It's been tough. So I'll be honest with you, it's not probably the most popular choice, but the most reliable lately has been Amazon, which is it's just crazy. Cinex has been iffy. With everyone's iffy with product. I buy servers and computers. I buy directly from Dell, so I just buy directly from them, and it's just been, everything's slow. Even they're slow to ship now. Like, I got some servers out that we're talking, they're telling you 3 weeks before they ship. And I got, servers or some desktops that are coming that I'm waiting on. But for quick stuff, Amazon Business has always been, the most reliable. Even our Protectly products I'm getting directly from Amazon. So it's I know it's not the way we necessarily, the correct, not only I say correct, but the
preferred or the what's been standardized as, yeah. I mean, my opinion about Amazon, it goes two ways. It's one, it's great for quick things or make mini bundles, like a couple hard drives here, RAM, things like that. My issue with Amazon is when I purchase laptops and things of that nature, because we never know how long those machines have been sitting on their shelves. So the warranty could be expired by the time you get them, is what I've ran into for a few times. I've even ran into it where they advertised that it was a new machine and I received a refurbished machine. And that was a whole nother problem when my client was having issues with that system. So I've just made it a decision where if it's not a refurb that I don't know, I usually go through the channels that I try to. I am a huge Cynix fan. They used to resell my Lenovo's with no problem. Now obviously there are TD Cynix, because Tech Data and Cynix have both merged. Not a huge fan of Tech Data in my personal opinion, just because they like to say, yep, we'll take your order, and then magically it'll be back ordered because they fulfilled it to a bigger guy, and I won't know that. So I have to log into the portal to see it's back ordered, thinking that it's already been charged and shipped. So that's a little bit annoying, but I get it. Their point of business is like they're not going to charge the card until they've actually had the system. And supply chain is a huge issue, but this is even before supply chain. I would have some of those issues with Tech Data. So we'll kind of see how that relationship grows. But that's kind of where we have it for there. But yeah, usually Cynix. There's actually another distributor that I like to work with that's local here named PC Nation. They seem to be very good on having a lot of quantity. I have noticed a couple times where it'll say like Ingram Micro on the box, or DNH and stuff like that. So they're probably just reselling what they have. The point is that not only do they have the stock, they're smart enough to be able to have that ability to be able to resell that at a most comparable price as well. And they're right here in North Lake, which is about probably 30 minutes from downtown Chicago. It's not that far out to grab that and go to a client if that's necessary. So it's been pretty helpful so far. Tools. Are there any specific tools, like either hardware or software, that you just cannot go without on a day-to-day basis? Whether it's to repair a client's issue or something that helps you with like projects or migrations, things like that.
Well, I mean, again, I use Synchro from RMM, which is obviously you can't live without that. I'm trying to think. We do use. I don't. Again, the break fix is a little different now for me. So. But we still do. I subscribe to the Malwarebytes Tech Toolkit, which I use. I'm just not using as much as I used to. Fabs, which is a great product. I'm just as I'm not seeing as much in the break fix area, I'm finding a little less usage for these things, but they come in handy when I need them. And now just because we've been focusing more on the I don't know, say the bigger picture, I guess, or client side, we've been everything's been usually basically through the RMM or one of the solutions we need from there. So.
Okay. Are there any resources that you've learned to rely on as you are, obviously you said you're making this transition, you're trying to figure out better on helping more on the managed services side? Is there any tools or tips that you've gotten from certain places, any communities that have been very helpful to you in helping with some of that?
Yeah.
Finding out new resources.
This community has been great. This is what, this has been my, this is exactly why I'm here. So this community is what set me on the path, or when I said this is where I want to go, this is the community that helped me basically, I'm not gonna say right the ship, but put me in the ocean and point me in the right direction and give me a lot of resources. I'm also I know you had Nigel on. I subscribe to the Tech Tribe, which is another great resource. I'm trying to think who else. ASCII, which is another great resource. So those are really the, I guess you could say, communities. And a lot of it too is just been, particularly with this community, the relationships I've built. So, I have people now across the country that I can call a friend and say, hey, I have this issue or that issue. We do it on the Facebook page, on the MSP Unplugged Facebook page. If ever there's a question or concern or something I learned or something I, need to learn or don't understand, I can post it there and rather quickly someone there has an answer or, can point me in the right direction towards an answer. So I think, as a business and as a business owner, you have to, utilize your resources and,
Sure.
The friends I've made, the connections I've made are a tremendous resource for me in helping me grow. And, it's just, that is where I'd say that that's a large part of my growth and my understanding of what I'm doing and bettering the direction I'm going.
Sure. No, that makes total sense. I think the Tech Tribe is a great resource. Nigel Moore over there, great colleague over there, doing a lot of great stuff. It's a great value for your money. He even has an offer where if you enroll and you want your money back within the first 30 days, not only will he give you your money back, but he will also send you enough money to get a plate of tacos. And he says that he has not had to do that probably twice in the last 9 years. I think he said that he was doing, or 6 years. So we'll have him back on to kind of talk about more about his community and such. But with that, Joshua Zuckerman has a question, which we'll actually go into a quick break, is, can we plug the Facebook group and the page? And yeah, we have no problem. Go ahead and do that. So we'll go and take a break on talking about how you can gain access to our Facebook group, along with our Facebook page, which is basically facebook.com/MSP Unplugged. But to gain access to the Facebook group and the MSP community, MSP Unplugged community, is by supporting the show. We have a Patreon account. It's about $1 a show to pledge. But basically what that will allow you to do is get inside information on what's going on with our stuff. We're going to go ahead and have a lot more details on some new things that we got coming out. But it also gains you access to our MSP Unplugged Facebook group. And there we have a great community that allows where basically, it's zero tolerance for just people making you feel dumb, making you feel incompetent for what you're doing. If you're new and you're trying to learn, that's the goal. So we have a zero tolerance where if someone asks a question and someone has the, let me actually back up because I'm going to go into my little rant. There's a big problem with IT Facebook groups, in my opinion, is there are a lot of Facebook groups that will have a lot of members, who post questions, take the time out. And, it's very nerve wracking for them if they're a first time user or a first time trying to get into the business, and post a question so they can get knowledge. And you get someone that, feels that their opinion is fact. And it's not, it's just opinion. There's different ways to do this business. And, they'll make a snarky remark or really just try and, really belittle what that question was about. And everyone started somewhere. And everyone started to a point. So we've made an ability where our group has been very great. We have not had that issue. And the moment we see that, they're banned out of the group. That's just what it is, because we want to confirm there is a safe environment for everyone that's involved. So that is one way to get in. The other is if you have purchased a Techcon Unplugged ticket in the past, feel free to message us over at info@MSP Unplugged, and we will make sure that you have admission to the Facebook group as well. So again, patreon.com/MSP Unplugged, or obviously head over to techconunplugged.com. Or if you've already purchased a ticket in the past, that does give you the year membership of the Facebook group as well. Just email us on info@MSP Unplugged. All right. So going into a little bit more on just business operations and how you are trying to get new clients. What have you done in the past? And what do you find that is either not working or you've adjusted to try and work on getting new clients coming up here in 2022?
Well, It's a good question because it's something I've been working on heavily, and we've had this conversation. But it was as a break fix. I'll say this too: as a break fix company, it was advertising on using Google Ads, AdWords, and that brought in a decent amount of business on the break fix side. And actually, I'm working on this now. It's probably one of those things I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but if you go to my website, it still looks like it's a computer repair break fix. It's actually in the process right now being updated. But so that was the way I advertised in the past. As I moved away from trying to gain new break fix clients or new clients, I basically just stopped AdWords. And most of my MSP business came from word of mouth, from referrals from clients. I didn't do any marketing at all. Okay. So I've had to make a few changes to grow my business. I think I've put myself to the point now where I feel comfortable taking the next step, moving to a much larger client base. So I've done a couple of things. I actually hired a sales and marketing person to help me with that part of this. I am part of a marketing group now. I joined Robbins basically, which I find to be very good. It's a lot of work. It's the secret sauce is basically putting in the energy and the effort to getting it done. As I talked to several people about it before making the investment, people say, hey, it costs you something, but if you work it right, it'll be worth it. So, we're in the beginning stages of that. So I can't say, hey, I've increased my, MRR by this or that so far, but the concept of it and some of the things that we've started already are paying dividends for me. Now, the other thing, and I'm going to give Jennifer Bleem a shout out from her being at Techcon last year. She talked about video marketing, which is something I said, okay, I think I'm going to try that. I said that in September, and you know how that goes. It's one of the things you're going to get to, but
it'll be September again by the time you get it. Yep.
And it's funny enough, kind of a shameless plug, but I do a lot of work around my house, building things, repairing. So the kids had convinced me at some point to I should film this stuff and put it on YouTube. So last year, not in 2021, in 2020, I got a camera and a whole bunch of equipment that was given, was my Christmas gift. And what I was supposed to do was be videotaping, but I haven't done anything. It's that getting started. So I took some time this weekend actually to start recording episodes of basically my YouTube page for basically video marketing for my clients. This is more so just geared towards, hey, this is what we do here. Talking about, you'll see soon, I'll be talking about what exactly is cybersecurity. How do we value, what exactly is backup? What's important? What do we do as your MSP? Things along that nature. Basically, more so as we do more advertising or more marketing, it's a way to have my face out there for people to go understand, what it is I exactly do. And it's also for my clients, because I still have clients who know me, trust me, but still say, hey, I have no idea what you do, or, they don't necessarily get the concept. And I know a lot of us are in the same boat. If you don't see it, particularly now during COVID, you're a great resource to your clients, but some of them, they don't recognize exactly what you're doing now to keep them going. They don't see you, right? So if they don't see you, I'm sending you a check, or you're charging my credit card every month, but I don't have any problems. I don't see you. So this is telling them basically what we do, how we do it, to a point. Just this is what you're getting from your MSP, and not to down or put down any other MSP, but it's more so too, as a marketing, it's like what you should be getting, right? Because we've all run across the business we've been called into to do some work, and we realize your guy is, I try very hard never to badmouth another MSP or another person's work, because I don't want them to do it to me, because my approach may be a little different than theirs. But there are some times where we're honest, we see guys we go behind who've cut a lot of corners, and you have to find a strategic, and I don't know what the word, but you don't want to say, hey, this guy is screwing up, or this guy is screwing you, and he's robbing you, he's taking your money. But you want to be able to communicate to the client you're not getting what you need.
You want to take the higher road. You want to be able to explain.
That's right. Again, I'm not into. You'll never hear me to a client badmouth another MSP. You'll hear me complain. You and I will have a private conversation, and I'll talk about some of the things I've seen. Right. But I wouldn't do that, because I don't want anyone to do it to me. But to go back to what you asked, those are the things I'm doing now to try to get to do more marketing. So the Robin Robbins, I think is a step in the right direction. My own video marketing myself, like I say, I'm changing up the website now to actually represent what we actually do, and and that's it. I'm still gonna push my clients for referrals, or to get into some of their trade organizations, to maybe speak at their meetings or things like that. Here chamber is, I know a lot of people deal with the chamber of commerce, and the chamber here is not that big, so it's an avenue, but it's it's a lot of work for, I'd say, a very small community.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that to unpack. So as you mentioned, obviously you're going through an outsourced marketing agency of Robin Robbins, helping you with some of those efforts. You're doing some inbound video marketing thanks to Jennifer Bleem over at MSP Sales Revolution. She will actually be on the 27th to talk a little bit more on what she's got going on. And and really this is kind of what you've shifted to. And then obviously from the beginning, really it was more of word of mouth, is what it sounds like, is how that business kind of grew from there. And for us over at Prodigy Techs, we actually had a similar route where, we actually really focused on grassroots efforts, because the resources weren't there. So we actually focused on the best way we could mimic word of mouth. And that was reviews from third-party review sites. So at the time when we did our break fix, it was Yelp and Google. Now that we were doing our managed services and MSP stuff, and consulting services, now it's over on, wow, I forgot both of them already. But basically it is clutch.co and UpCity. Those two are kind of the review sites that we're seeing our leads come from them, and getting a lot of managed leads from that route. And they're a little bit different on how they both react, but that's really what's helped us out from there. Then I just got busy and have much more things to do with the time that I have in my hands, because they always say, if you don't have the resources or money, you have the time. And that's when you go elbow deep and try and figure out what you're going to do. So what I ended up doing was then I enlisted in Tech Marketing Engine, which is our good friends over at Matt Rodella and Rami Bell. And they have a couple products where they do have a website builder. They have a tech site builder. They have a blog builder, which is custom blogs, which is Tech Blog Builder. And then Tech Reputation, which is the automated reviews that help link into our PSA or Synchro system. And it also helped automate a lot of the customer satisfaction scores that we were trying to gain as well. So, that's where we kind of evolved into our marketing efforts, is utilizing them and then really trying to figure out what's the next piece, right? And now it's, integrating in better marketing CRM. So we actually upgraded from just using our regular system to HubSpot. and utilizing their forms and capturing that data and using their click site. So that's allowed us to kind of get a little bit more information and really understanding that both marketing and sales are two separate things. And I failed miserably with a business development rep that I unfortunately put into those two roles, and they're really just two different roles. They're two different personalities. There's two different ways to try and figure that out. Where you have a marketing admin to clean up the list, get the list, and go from there, and then you have the business development rep who's trying to chase the new prospects, schedule the appointment setters, so that you can go ahead and close that deal. So a lot of this experience has made to the point where there is always a different way to do your marketing efforts, and we'll go into sales probably in another time, but that's just to show, there's always a different way to get the outcome of what you want and what you're trying to do. And it's always best to just make those smart bets. Sometimes you're going to have to waste money, and you're going to have to learn those lessons, but unless you do it, you just don't know if that's going to work for you as well. So that's what I'll say for marketing and that piece. As we kind of wind out the show, Rick, what is probably one thing that you wish you could redo in your IT service business, that you may consider either it was a mistake or you wish you would have done something a lot sooner? What would be that one thing that you could share?
If going back, I think if I could change one, I would have hired sooner.
Okay.
I would have hired an admin sooner to take some of the things off my plate. When you start out, you're on a budget, you're taking every job that comes in. So you're responsible for the technology, the phone system, the phones, the appointments, the books, everything. You take it all on. And I can remember late fixing machines, then having the invoice, then having the call, then having the, set appointments to do this and do that. And it's like you look around and all your time's gone, and you still have, this bundle of things still to do. So if once I got on my feet, quote unquote, the business was making money, a reinvestment into the business, the best reinvestment I could have made into the business was hiring someone to help me then, and not thinking I could do it all by myself. So, because I think if I look at it, the adjustment I have now, I think that I would have had a lot more time to grow sooner, is maybe the best choice of words. So, if there's the one thing I would have done differently, it would have been that. And a close to would have been marketing and advertising sooner than I started.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I can't agree more. I think for us, my main issue was delegation and automation. I think those are the two biggest pieces of trying to figure out, if you don't have that resource, automation is great. You have the ability, there's tools, there's a lot of things that we have now that a lot of IT service businesses didn't have 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I had a great conversation with Matt Lee over at PAX 8, or if you visit his YouTube channel, Cyber Matt Lee. He mentioned how, Microsoft, if you decide to play in that house, has made it in such a way that you can leverage a lot of this automation and skill set and technology that they've provided. And you can be a much more nimble MSP today than having to add bodies to grow in the way that you need to support the people that you need to. So it was a great conversation that we had, and it just put things to light that we're in such an ever changing atmosphere where there's this concept that you have to be a big MSP to succeed. And that's not the case. You can be a one person MSP shop, computer repair shop, etc., to really figure it out. There's the ability of having the absence of understanding that you don't need a business or an employee or a subcontractor to assist with you. You can outsource to particular companies on certain things. Your books, you should not be doing your books unless you're doing small transactions. It should go to an accountant. It should go to a bookkeeper. You should figure out how to get your books done, your accounts payable, figure out how to get all that back office stuff. I mean, those are a lot of the big things that tend to hang us up, and we just have to do it all. And sometimes if we have to have the we don't have the resources, we do have to make the time. But once you get to that point, you just have to understand that if you're getting burnt out, something's got to give. You got to make a sacrifice in order to grow a little bit further, to go from there. So again, so many different ways to do it, so many different ways to really try and figure it out. And it sounds like not only is this something that you would have wished you redone and done sooner, but this is also what has become a great improvement on your business kind of moving forward as well.
It's not to cut you, I'm sorry, but it goes back to something you just said, just, a struggle. It's learning to give up control, right? And it's probably the best business decision you can make, because 90% of the things we have to do, well, not 90, but a lot of the things I started that I was doing that I realized now I should not have been doing. One of the things I had to do was teach myself how to do it. So how much time does that take on top of, so I'm not an accountant. So, I'm doing books, messing with QuickBooks, things like that, and just passing it on to the accountant at the end of the year. And, then I learned, hey, you don't need to do that, right? That's what he's there for. It's the same concept that we use with our clients. You don't want your doctor, who is your client or your accountant or your whoever, you want them to be a doctor. You don't want them to learn how to do tech, right? That's what you're there for. It's the same concept, and we just have to learn. For me, again, it's my baby. I built this thing. Nobody's going to take care of it like I do. It's all in the mindset, but you hire professionals to do professional jobs just the same way you expect a professional to hire you to do your job, to do our job as MSPs. And it's the same concept.
Yeah, all great points. All great
to get to.
Right. Yeah, it's all great points. I mean, I think that, as you mentioned, it's just there's so many ways to evolve. There's also a way to maintain. And I think that you just got to figure out where you want to be, set those goals, and work on trying to get to that point. So, Rick, it's a great conversation that we've had so far. I think that this allows everyone to kind of get reintroduced to you and understand kind of what you're where you're at. And so for like-minded business owners can possibly reach out to you and maybe pick your brain on that. Is there anything you'd like to leave off with to the listeners on just what you've done over the past years, or just kind of what you're hoping to get out of 2022?
Well, 2022 for me is just a year of growth. I'm looking to, continue the growth that I've been on, correct some, I won't say mistakes, but correct some things we've learned from, and move forward. So I would just say to everyone, just, if this is your passion, if this is your business, just keep pushing. I realized something there in my zip code. There are 35 quote unquote MSPs in my zip code. And I still realize there's enough business for all of us out there. So, I would say that, there's opportunities out there. Keep honing your craft, keep working hard at it. And, I think it'll come. Some of us are going to move a little faster than others, but, it's not how fast it takes you to get there. It's getting there. That's the point.
No, that makes sense. No, that's great. Again, as always, you're here every week. We appreciate you kind of talking more about your deal. If there are those who want to know more about you and see what you're up to nowadays, how can they go ahead and reach out?
Well, now I'm about everywhere, but you can find me here every Tuesday and most Thursdays as well on the show, at the MSP Unplugged, the Facebook show. You can reach out to me at rick@renactus.com if there's something you want to ask, one-on-one. And also, again, I'm going to give my spiel as the newest member of the Techcon and MSP Unplugged business side of this. We're working very hard to make this year's Techcon the best ever. We're also working to improve the content that's brought to you here on MSP Unplugged. So if you have any suggestions, you want to come on the show, reach out to us, info@MSP MSPUnplugged.com, or you can reach me personally at rick@MSPUnplugged.com. But that will be my spiel forever, because I would like, I say this, and I've probably said it more than once, the one thing I know is that I don't know everything. And this community has, been a blessing for me, has been, a wealth of information. And I'm sure there are plenty of people who have not been on the show to have something to share. So I'm going to encourage every tech I meet, they're going to get a email from me saying, hey, book some time on the show, come on the show. And again, I'm looking forward to helping Paco make this make this great community much better, and making the Techcon Unplugged a very good event, a great event for everyone who attends.
No, all great words. And yeah, that's our open call. If you want to be on Tech Talk Tuesday, head over to mspunplugged.com, hit our contact button, and just fill out the information on you'd like to be on an episode, and we'll get that booking for you as well. That booking link will go live in the show soon, or on the website soon, so keep an eye on it. But if you'd like to be on it, this is our open call to jump on. If you haven't been on in a while, or if you're new to the community, we'd love to hear from you as well. But that's it, folks. Come join us every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m.
Eastern.
And Thursdays, noon Eastern. I had to change everything to Central because Jeff always had it as Eastern. But and now Thursdays at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. And tune in this Thursday, because we're going to have Resource Thursday with Jump Cloud. We'll have Heather Harlos and Katie Klaus. They are the head of marketing and the head of the channel sales. So we've had Jump Cloud in the past before to talk about all the technical things that Jump Cloud can do. They're going to come on and talk about the great partner programs that they're actually developing now for Jump Cloud, and how you can become a partner and better utilize a great identity management solution. So tune in Thursday at 9 a.m. for Resource Thursday. Watch the video podcast on youtube.com/MSP Unplugged. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you never miss an episode. Also, use your favorite podcatcher app to take us wherever you go. We're on Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Those episodes will be getting uploaded fairly soon. We're just figuring out some things in the back end. We do have them mostly edited for a couple of them. We will start dropping those here shortly. So you will be resuming your audio listening pleasure. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you next time on MSP Unplugged.
Bye, everybody.